everyone, welcome back to Colleen's Cozy Corner, where we are very obviously not in my corner. I had a spontaneous idea this morning to start one of these like crocheted like half sweaters. So I want to start that at work, so I'm just doing a little intro here that I'm going to start that at work. We will check back in my corner after work to see how much progress I've made and just give some more details. But I had this idea at 7:30 and it's currently 7:45. So clearly this is a very on the fly idea. So I'll see you in a few seconds back in the corner. All right, so I'm out of the car and I'm here the next day to give a little progress update on the wearable that I'm making. I have this romper that I like to wear, but it's kind of like a very scoop neck, and sometimes I really just like to have something like covering the top part to kind of like keep me warm, but I don't necessarily want to wear like a full sweater. So I thought that this would be a good thing to make instead. So this is my progress. I'm actually really proud with how quickly I'm doing all this. So I know it looks kind of small, but this will be like the front part. Here, I can put it on. But this is the idea for the front part. And then the back part is a little bit longer. And then once I block this, it will stretch out a little bit, which is why I didn't want to make it too long, because I really just want it to be like covering where it's covering right now, basically. Obviously, this is not something I would wear on its own, but this is kind of my first like real sweater, I feel like. I know I made that Christmas one, but I feel like it's not great. I kind of just did some random stuff and wasn't actually, like, that was my first time learning. I feel like this time I'm actually going to make something that I could wear on a normal basis. I'll link down below. I'm not necessarily following this TikTok tutorial. Something I will say that I think I've made a decent amount of progress on is kind of like learning just from watching one video. So the TikTok I'm linking below, I watched this TikTok a couple of days ago and I'm kind of going based on that. So that's kind of how I made this neck hole. This is a really easy stitch. So you just start off by chaining. For me, I chained for like how big my bust is. So you just chain that, about that many. I honestly don't even remember how much I chained, as long as it's a multiple of 3. So for example, like 6, I think I ended up making mine a little bit over 60. I don't really remember. I just kind of was like measuring as I went. Once it was a multiple of 3, then I started. And then each of these, so when you end a row, you do chain 5, and then you skip 2, and then you just double crochet. Skip 2, double crochet, that's how you start it. So it would actually be this way. But then for every other row, you just, once you get to the end of the row, you chain 5, and then just go into the last post, chain 2, next post, and so on. For the whole part right here, what you do is, whatever side you're coming from, so like you would do it all the way up until about where you wanted your, you would kind of figure out beforehand where you wanted your hole and kind of count how many stitches that was on each side. I put like a stitch marker just so I wouldn't forget. And then this whole part right here where the head hole is, you just chain across until you have like a wide enough opening. Again, a multiple of 3. And then once you get to the other side, you just kind of continue the mesh stitch. And then when you start the next row where you would be going into that chain, it's basically just the same thing as the foundation chain. So it's super easy and like very minimal sewing. I did want this all to be this one gray color, but this was just kind of like a very spur of the moment project idea. So I just kind of used what I had, and I'm realizing that I don't have enough yarn to finish this and do long sleeves most likely. So this is now going to be Travis inspired. So I'm gonna use like a darker gray and then a black to kind of finish out the arms, and kind of do like an ombre down the arms, kind of like Travis. He's got like that gray and black coloring. So I'll check back in probably once I start doing the sleeves, because that's where I think I'm gonna struggle the most to figure out, because I don't really know how to do that necessarily. So yeah, I'll check back in after that and then kind of see where I'm at. And yeah. All right, see you in a couple minutes. Okay, I'm checking back in. So I finished the back, and as you can see, I started on the sleeve, which is actually, this is my first time putting it on, and it's coming out a lot better than I thought. Let me just take this off. So like I said, I'm gonna be doing the ombre. So I did start the ombre a little bit on the back. So it's just the darker gray and then some black. But yeah, started the sleeve. I kind of just like slip stitched the two, so like I'll show you on this side. I like just took the two ends, I slip stitched like this first like hole together, and then I just did the same stitch in the round. So yeah, going pretty well. I'll probably check back in when I finish this first sleeve to show how it's looking. Yeah, it's been going well so far. I almost forgot to mention my little muse is right here, and he has been sitting on my yarn the entire time I'm crocheting. Okay, so I'm back with a little update. So I'm about halfway done with the sleeves. I think I'm gonna finish out the sleeves with my black. I'm probably only gonna actually do the sleeves up to here, because I know that once I steam it, it'll like, and block it, it'll stretch a little. But yeah, it's coming out pretty good so far. These are the sleeves. I kind of wish the sleeves were a little bit tighter, but this is just kind of how big around it was. And if I had made them any smaller, it wouldn't have fit like up here. So for a future project, I'll have to figure out how to make sure it stays tight down my whole arm and not just here. But yeah, still turning out pretty good. Okay, so I have finished the cardigan. I do have it on technically like backwards from how I made it, but I feel like you can kind of put it on either way. But yeah, this is what it looks like before blocking it. So I did end up deciding to make the sleeves cinched. I just feel like since the sleeves are kind of puffy, the cinched wrist just like kind of gives it the effect that I was going for. So yeah, just for reference, this is what it looks like before blocking. And then I'll come back and show you after blocking. I also have my handy dandy sidekick, Travis. He has been sitting with me for the majority of this project and actually not being a menace, just kind of watching. But he's been a good boy. I'll be back once this is blocked just to show kind of the difference. And here is the final product. So this is what it looks like after steaming. So I actually couldn't find my steamer. So I kind of just did this by putting it in the bathroom with the shower on super hot. So once I find my steamer, I'm definitely going to go over it again just to kind of stretch the arm out a little bit more. But since steaming it, I could definitely tell that it's a little bit looser. And it just kind of like drapes more like a garment. But yeah, I like how it turned out. I'm definitely going to make some more of these. I'll probably make the front a little bit longer on some other ones. And yeah, I just really love this. I think this is going to be perfect for what I want. I definitely want to make this in a lot of other colors because I feel like a lot of times I like to just kind of have something, like if I'm wearing a tank top, I kind of like to have something to cover my arms, but I don't necessarily want like a full warm sweater. So I think this is the perfect option to just kind of like throw on over that won't be too hot and it will kind of cover up. And in case you can't tell, I also made a little headband out of the yarn that I had left, and I actually absolutely love this. I'm definitely going to be making more headbands. I literally just did the exact same stitch. I just kind of was measuring as I went to like get the length that I wanted, and then at the end I just did all the 3 different colors. I just did a single crochet, or not a single crochet, a chain, and I made it like this cool looking pattern. Like it looks like an actual cool rope, but this is literally just a chain. And then when I put it on, I just kind of tie it off. I love this. I really like how headbands look. However, I do wear glasses all the time. Like I don't ever wear contacts. I don't ever not wear my glasses. So I feel like normal headbands are way too tight and they end up giving me a headache by the end of the day. But I did wear this at work all day and did not get a headache at all. It was really comfortable and I think it's just super cute. And then if anyone ever asks like, OMG, I love your headband, like, thanks, I made it. Like, So yeah, I love it. I'm definitely gonna make like a headband in every single color I have because this was so fast to make. I think it's cute. I used to love wearing like those plastic headbands, just like not necessarily to hold my hair back, but as an accessory, but I just can't wear them with glasses because either then my glasses have to sit out awkwardly or they go over my glasses. It just gives me a headache. So this is a really cute option for me to still be able to wear a headband and not get a headache. And I'll definitely make more of this pattern, like this mesh pattern. This probably took me like 30 minutes to make, if that. So it was super fast, but I'll probably learn some other patterns just to like change it up a little bit. But it's nice to be able to have a loose headband and have, especially with this, it's nice and adjustable. And also I like this because like, I don't know, you could style with the little strings. Like I was experimenting with like tying them into like my pigtails, making them into the braids and stuff. Just super cute. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I will definitely be making more of these in multiple different colors, kind of experimenting with lengths on arms, probably experimenting with the length of this front and back part. I'll definitely eventually make like a full length sweater out of this stitch. It was just so easy to work this stitch. I think this is one of the fastest I've ever done a project, like of a comparable size. So I'm really proud of how quickly I was able to get this done. It realistically only took me like 2 days to do. I'm trying to do a little bit of quick math. Maybe like 8 hours total to make this. Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, I did this pretty quick. And I was like experimenting with a new stitch, with a new pattern. So I think if I made this again, since I already kind of had the experience, I definitely think I would be much faster. It's probably closer to 10 hours, I'll say. I watched all 3 Spy Kids movies while making it. And then I maybe did another 2 or 3 hours outside of it. So yeah, probably closer to 10 hours it took me to make this, but it was my first time doing this stitch, first time making a sweater with this kind of pattern, first time like really customizing a wearable. I did learn how to do the cuff as well. I had seen like TikToks about it before, but for this I actually learned how to do it. So a lot of new things, and it was relatively quick, and I like how it turned out. So you'll definitely be seeing more of these in the future, and definitely absolutely some more of these in the future. I would not be surprised if I have a few of these done by next week, just in like some random colors that I have lying around. But that concludes this project. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys made one of these also. I'd love to see any pictures of any products like this that you guys crocheted down in the comments. But thanks again for watching, and see you next week. Bye!